for us. The session falls perfectly right before lunch and then sponsor visits. So take some of the information that you learned from Jim here to go meet some of our sponsors. We purposely planned that this way so you can have that energy when you go meet with them. Hello everyone. My name is Kara Simmons. I serve as the Assistant Director of Alumni Relations, overseeing our business development and marketing and communications at Florida Gulf Coast University. And I am here today as part of the programming committee for CAMP. We have a fun presentation / discussion for you. So you'll hear from our speaker here shortly, and then follow that with a group discussion at your tables, and then we'll open it up to the floor once we finish with the presentation. So I'm excited to introduce you to Jim Harris. Jim serves as the Director of Alumni Sponsorships and Business Development at the University of Maryland Alumni Association. He's a proud 1989 graduate of Maryland and brings more than 20 years of experience in business development, along with 3 years of success in the higher education space. Outside of work, Jim speaks fluent Greek, which is really awesome, and enjoys spending time in the kitchen cooking for his family. A fun fact about Jim is that he also served as an NHL off-ice official for more than 25 seasons. Pretty cool, right? And started his game day career with the Washington Capitals back in 1989. So, with that, please help me welcome Jim up here for the presentation.
This is really old, and also a contrary member of the ARP, by the way. Brett, Bubba, awesome session. Just thank them again. So, what does that mean, Director of Business Development, Alumni Sponsorship? So, I handle the travel program, corporate sponsorships. Class range is not as big as Bubba, but we'll be here one day, even though we have them all. But, and also our deployment training program too. Sides, some of the things you see there, Stanley Cup, the best trophy in sports. There's my 25-year watch, and as you can see, I'm a proud Greek. During COVID, I organized food trucks in my neighborhood to help the local businesses. And this one place, Jim's famous, best crab cakes in Maryland, by the way. They made $3 grand in one day. So I'm working on that sponsorship. That one in the corner also hosts the travel program. That was a fun trip to France last year. With this one alum that sent me like a 4-page email about the difference between alumni and the use of alum in the email. And I remember that. He also went to my rival high school, so we were like back and forth. He's a donor, and he's going to more trips because of our relationship. So, yeah. So today's topics that we're going to cover, the first one will be prospecting and development of new opportunities, solicitation, and collaboration, which is really the theme of CAMP, right? Collaboration. And our jobs, we're always pivoting, like Ross Geller. We talked about it yesterday. Didn't have the slide. I got the slide there. And Glenn Ross, if you've never seen the movie, Al Baldwin was in it for like 5 minutes. It was amazing. Always be close. So the first thing about that I'll go over will be about prospecting. Let me see. Anyone in the room have a 6-figure guaranteed insurance plan? Okay, I need to see you afterwards. Okay, so when I started this job about 3 years ago, my big insurance partner just cut away from, our market. I'm like, how am I going to make that up? So a couple of things that I really found effective is, sign up for local publications. It just know your community. You could stay ahead of athletics, other entities maybe aren't going to do the work. Knowing new restaurants that are opening up, maybe a new hotel chain, and you're ahead of the game and you're showing that vested interest. Google Alerts. I use Google Alerts a great deal, not only for my current partners. I don't use, absolutely, I'm using that all the time now, but I don't use sponsorships, I use partnerships. Because you're vested. You're vested in their business. You show the passion for your university. That's something that a lot of entities really don't exhibit when they're doing those type of deals. I joined local and also national business organizations. The SMA is the Sponsorship Mastery Association. They have a conference. I'm going out in Denver, been involved with them for about 3 years, and from that, they started that organization. And that conference will have, they got Starbucks of the world, Alaska Airlines, Microsoft, and just getting out of our box and coming up with new ideas. The other one I'm a member of is a local BWI business partnership, and meeting like Southwest Airlines, BWI Airport, trying to work out a sponsorship with them. Join those type of organizations. They're great networking, sometimes not only getting new prospects, but enhancing your relationship with current ones that might be at those organizations as well. I mentioned always be closing. I'm always networking. People, you've met me now, some of you know me better than others, but you'll get to know me by the end of camp. They know I went to Maryland. I just like Duke basketball very strongly. I'm Greek, and so they know those type of things. And I'll give you a couple examples recently that come to mind. Went to get my eyes checked the other day, and the doctor was the official LASIX sponsor for the Baltimore Ravens. I'm like, so how's that working out? He's like, oh, it's really good. I'm, loving the relationship. I'm like, he's like, you go to Maryland. Of course, I have a shirt on, and my phone says Maryland all over the place. So from there, we're having a conversation about it, and he said, well, don't you have a partner? I'm like, that's athletics. That's another division. So we started that conversation because I talk all the time. They know I go to Maryland. Another example, the other day, I was buying a six-pack. I won't tell you what I was buying. And there was a display. It was vodka and water. It tasted a little bit like cream soda, different flavors. This new guy starting up over the last year. Turns out he's a Turk. So not a lot of money. I'm like, I'm not going to sell him a corporate partnership, but what about homecoming, having a table at homecoming? So from there, it's just customizing what their needs are, not telling them what they want, finding out what they need, right? And just building a program. So I don't really have a media kit per se. Every one of my partners, it's all customized what they need. Do they need targeted email marketing or live events, some branding opportunities in some of the emails, or maybe a mixture of all three? You just never know. And also CAMP. I got involved with CAMP 3 years ago. I'm also co-chair of the sponsorship committee. And honestly, when I first saw CAMP, I'm like, marketing, membership, I do business development. There's no really correlation, but my 20 plus years, so thank you, everyone knows my age, is someone to help with the sponsorships. And I've sold exhibits for like big conferences with like 100,000 people. And I can tell you stories about that later. But from there, I was able to get involved with CAMP. Best decision ever made. I can tell you that this is the best job I've had, and you can just tell by getting to know me a little bit, and able to get some new partners from the sponsorships that you'll meet later on today. Just different companies. So developing a new opportunity. So I'm an early riser, so I had some new ideas actually this morning. So the theme, alumni events. I started back in 22. I've been with the Alumni Association about 3.5 years. It's our Black Alumni Weekend, and it was the first time we did it, and getting, like I said, we're a gateway to engagement, right? I had so many alums, I get in tears about this event, and they got more engaged with it, they became members, and they became active members of the association. So I developed partnerships as part of their yearly package, but also now, since this could be our third time doing it next April, is coming up with individuals, maybe with people, companies that don't have the money to do long, big corporate partnerships. And I agree with you. I love the multi-year deals. Doing the onesies, it's just so hard, and it takes so long to build that trust with your alums. So like Black Alumni Weekend, I had the thought last night or this morning. I know someone that's in this group, singing group. It's amazing. Voices of Service, write this down. Voices of Service. They were in America's Got Talent years ago. I know one of the singers, he's an anthem singer at the Capitol. So I'm like, why don't we get them to start it off on the right foot and maybe get a sponsorship involved with it. So now they're like, oh, that's a great idea. So we're going to meet about that when I get back. So, and another one I can put up there was a Turban Fest, which is a way to get alums who are Maryland-owned businesses. Could be a beer company, vodka, macaroons, nice bags like Louis Vuitton, or knockoffs maybe. Just to showcase that I can't afford that, but showcase those things. So from there is crafting low cost sponsorships for maybe like we have Howard County is a big where I live. They have a visitors bureau. I'm like, why don't you have a table for like $500? Okay, it's short lived. They don't have a lot of money. I know that. So that's like a new opportunity that we're able to craft there. Career Week. It was a in-person and virtual event that we had. So it had some sponsors that were more towards the virtual side of it, and then the ones that could do more in-person giveaways and that sort of thing. So I was able to, include that in, and by the way, if you have questions as I'm speaking, just fire away anytime. But that was a sponsorship that we did recently, the Career Week. And the official licensing, there's a couple examples I have here. Mighty Meals, it's official ready-made meal company for the football team, and I saw them everywhere. So I reached out, and they started expanding their corporate partnerships. That for myself, I don't have many that are just commission-based, but it was an easy lift, and so we were able to do a sponsorship with Mighty Meals. That's me in front of my house. So I'm a foodie. If I'm gonna do a sponsorship with them, I wanna make sure it's damn good, right? So it was very, very good. So of course, beatnik that I am, ran out there with a big flag, and I used that on our social media, and it got more likes than the stuff that they sent me. I got a lot of friends. Yeah, I think so. I pay them well. Okay. The other one, Vigilante Coffee. I'm a coffee drinker. Who's coffee drinkers in here? Are you passionate about your coffee? Are you Starbucks,
Yes.
Dunkin' Donuts? What? Okay. Well, Vigilante is amazing coffee. It's a local. They have 2 locations here on campus, and he's not a Turk. He went to Virginia Tech, which I like the Hokies. Like Tabor went to. What's the matter? Oh no, I'll let you go. But he's never been approached for partnership. So we're right now working on a branded coffee. We're going to do a tasting at our alumni association, and just get a little bit of a kickback and sell it at his local stores and on our website. And he's so excited. We're going to do a 2-year deal, and it's something that I always thought of. And the coffee drinkers in my work are very excited about it. We're getting free coffee, and we'll work on that.
So what is the 2-year deal? Explain to us a little bit.
Well, for the coffee, we're going to sell it in their stores. They're going to develop the sticker. It's going to be a branded sticker. So backing up, I had to make sure they're officially licensed. So I'm really close, and I'll talk about this later. You mentioned this about silos, right? So knocking down the silos is something else I'm going to discuss as well. And I made sure to get in really good with the merchandising and licensing person, because the one before we had Maryland, I could say, was very challenging. The person now, it's great. I mean, it was so good that they got me involved with them to pick the official beer, which was a lot of fun. So they're going to do a branded sticker, like a custom bag with it, and it's going to be a special blend just for alumni. Yeah. And I have my information, trade some contact info, and it's free of charge.
Thanks.
And the next one is collaboration, and that's the one thing about our jobs. I mean, there's so much talent in this room, and everyone's sharing ideas. This collaboration, and I don't know, did we back up collaboration? Maybe it's the next one. That's okay. I know what I got. Let's go to the next one. So solicitation. So I'm a person. Zoom calls. I'm all over that. I want to go meet people. So Bricks R Us. They're in Meridian, Idaho. Why do I know that? My in-laws live near Meridian, Idaho. So it was really important for me to go meet with them and see how we could build a brick program. How many in here have a brick program? Not many. I tell you, it's a great revenue generator, and I'm surprised, and I keep it quiet, Athletics hasn't done it yet. We build on that. Bricks R Us, they're exhibiting. I'm not going to give you a big spiel about them too much, but they are great to work with. It's a great engagement for alumni, and it's an area around our building that when students graduate, they take a picture in front of Tuskegee, which is, by the way, the best mascot in college. And I put a sign, because no one knew, where's Legacy Plaza? There's no sign, so I got a really nice sign made in back, so anytime someone takes a picture, they see Legacy Plaza, and now they know this is where the bricks can be, and then they get in great bricks as well. So you can make about 5 figures or more on the brick program. So I highly recommend, if you don't have a brick program, you should do one. The picture on the right, so I spoke about always be networking. I was at a conference, Sponsorship Mastery in Seattle, just hanging out between sessions, and the person next to me was like, "You're University of Maryland?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she goes, "Oh, I'm the Department of Housing and Community Development in Maryland." And from there, I was able to get a 2-year sponsorship of them promoting their brand to more of low income and middle income housing. And it was something that was unexpected. I got back and they're like, "How was the conference?" I'm like, "I got a 2-year deal for a sponsorship." I'm like, "Okay, you can go to Hawaii." And there's collaboration. So a person there, that's Caroline, my good friend Megan Sykes, that's here, that's her daughter. She just graduated in Maryland, and I told her, I'm like, "Hey, I love you, I want to get you something for graduation. Here's a bottle of wine, but you have to do some marketing for me." And so we had a wine program before that I was able to put over the finish line when I started, and a wine program is another way to add more revenue. So we had Maryland is known for crab cakes and football, not for wine. And there's some good wineries, but not too many. So we used a company in the past that was based in Sonoma, and people were like, "Why don't I use Maryland wines?" I'm like, "How can I say this?" Diplomatically, but it was such a heavy lift. It was more for engagement. So I kind of sunset that relationship, and I'm a big sports person, so I have a couple of Manos wines when the Capitals and the Nationals won their titles, and they start reaching out to our market, and they didn't have to sell me. I'm like, "Let's go ahead and do it." So I signed them up in April. We had graduation in May. So I had a short window to really promote the graduates. So, we talked about silos. So I highly recommend meet for coffee, student affairs, business school, computer school, athletics, and try to break down those walls. And getting over the mindset, and I kind of put it out there. I'm like, "Hey, we're not competing against each other. We're helping each other out. We're helping the brand, right?" And so our Office of Special Events puts on our commencement. We had Kermit the Frog this year, by the way, which was really cool. But I became really close with them by, volunteering for commencement, volunteering for their president's suite. So, they'll promote my diploma frames on their site, then the bookstore. They won't promote the bookstore, they'll promote me because I do the extra stuff. Same with the wine program. So I sold about, in a month, it was about $1,000 worth of wine. Maybe not a lot, but you know what? In a month, that's okay. But now we're building a whole year of marketing, and I'm sure we'll do a lot more next year. Active and Fit, they're also here. I'm not sure if we did yoga tomorrow. I think I'm doing the bowl healing thing. I need a lot of healing, but anyway. So you like that one again? Okay. So they were working with our membership department, and when I met them about a year or so ago, they were like, "Well, we're going to do more marketing out to your alums." I'm like, "Well, that's going to cost me. We're not doing that for free." And I didn't say like that, but so we worked out a whole game plan, and then they're doing things with the business development side as well. So, in-person events and some other things. So a really cool thing. Gerald Lee Hill is her first time at CAMP. She's here. She's our director of content marketing. I always look at what else can I do added value. I hate nickel and diming the sponsors. So I called them up after we said, "Gerald Lee had this great idea. We're going to get our mascot a whole day to our local event, local sponsors, and we're going to do a photo shoot at all these different places." So we're going to go to like a gym with the students, go wear a big Active and Fit jersey, and go to our hotel property. Hotel properties, another thing is the work on is to have that as a corporate partner. So students could go to our hotel property and go in the spa like it's maybe a petty, or do different things like that. So for us, when we get these marketing assets from them, if they incorporate our brand, our colors, our mascot, they're getting a lot more results. I had a partner in the past, I'll mention Sling TV, it was a short-lived because it was the same thing you would see on the consumer side in the regular world, and they would use the same thing for us, and it never resonated with our alums, and they went away, and so did they. So there's some ideas. And anyone have a question?
I have a question for you. So Reunion Homecoming is one of our marquee events coming up in October, and just today, like hearing the people in the room talk, have you ever brought a potential sponsor who's gonna bring in big bucks and toured them around to show them like what's possible? And how do you manage it when you are a volunteer at the event and sometimes taking care of your own partners and sponsors as well as selling deals, right? Like, how do you do it?
Well, I had one example is our current credit card company. So I had another one for years and years, and it was actually University of Illinois Credit Union. I won't bore you with the story, but it preceded me. And so CQ named our stadium, but they didn't do anything. Bless you. They didn't do anything with the Alumni Association, but I always kept that relationship going. So I brought them by homecoming. I'm like, we're right next to the stadium, and they knew they would get the service from me. Then honestly, they wouldn't get with anyone else on campus. And I heard that from them. Okay, so brought them to homecoming. They really loved it. I said, okay, why don't you come the next year? I'll charge you a low rate to have the table. So it went great. And the way we had homecoming set up, it's next to our football stadium, and we had about 1,300 come to homecoming. And the way it was set up, where people who weren't really registered for our homecoming would go by their tables anyway, because it was a way to go to the ticket booth. So they got a lot of exposure and loved it. So go forward about a year, I'm having coffee with my contact, and she's like, oh, you know, athletics is doing a credit card. I'm like, what? So from there, I had to transition from my credit card, because you can't have two credit cards. I mean, can you imagine all the alums calling me up? Why are there two credit cards? I'll be on the phone all day. So we had to switch from one company to CQ, and it was tough to leave a partner that was like on autopilot, pretty much, but had to be done. And now we have a 6-figure guarantee from CQ, and now they do other things with us. We have a grad bash. Another thing that we did is we have a ring ceremony, and I was based in Clemson, and then the next day we have grad bash for graduating seniors. And because of COVID, they weren't able to take their senior picture, or I guess the picture on freshman year on the field. So we did it that day. CQ paid for all the t-shirts, so it was branded with CQ, got on the stadium, and then we had 1,400 kids flock over, and for, you know, open bar for the 21 and above, and food. And that was the first time a lot of them dealt with the Alumni Association. Some were like, what's the Alumni Association? Like, well, we can help you get a job, make your parents happy, you know? And so that, like, one little thing of taking them to homecoming, to having a table, now they're one of my strongest partners.
I love that story.
Yeah. They're a great partner. Anyone else have a question about any of the things? Well, Karen, we bring you up. Well, thank you for your time.
Oh, wait. So out of all of the programs that you've mentioned, what are your top 3 that generate the most revenue for you?
The top for me is the credit card. After that is my home and auto insurance. I could talk on the side. It's been a little bit challenging. You know who I'm talking about. Benefit Hub. A little bit of a challenge, but that's my second. And third, I would right now there's Active and Fit, and there's a pizza company that I work with that does all the pizzas. It's an institution at Maryland in the state. It took me about a year of doing the Google alerts and keeping up with them to then sign a 2-year deal with me.
Okay.
So those
Now,
are my 3 highest.
Okay, so from the revenue that's generated from those programs, does it go directly into the Alumni Association account? Does it go to a specific cause of the university? Is there some sort of split? Like where does the revenue go?
It goes strictly to Alumni Association, to my business development. So I'm responsible for corporate partnerships is how it's budgeted. A little over 300 is my budget. Travel program budget was 30. I did in the 60 this year. And so on the corporate partnerships, it's not only the multi-year deals, the tables, but also entwined in that is my diploma frames and also my class frames as well.
Okay, another question for you.
Yeah.
Because I'm curious.
Yeah.
Is the Alumni Association a separate 501c3 for you, or is it connected to the university?
Now it's different. It was separate, and now it's connected. And we're part of our university relations. So under our umbrella is like the donor team and development officers as well. And we're part of the university relations. So we've had a lot of change on the top, like our head of the university relations been there about a year. My boss was with the Alumni Association for 16 years, and she had to get through an interview process. I don't know why. She's awesome, and now she's our executive director.
So, and the reason why I asked that question is because, do you have a board of directors?
We do, and you mentioned about the board of directors. For us, we can't do business with them as a part of the board, but once he got off, and here's another story I forgot to say. Do we have time? Is that okay? So I'm a member of ARP, proud member, 10% off.
Me too.
Out back in Bravo's, 10% off.
Yeah.
So, you know, sorry, I had to always say that because my kids, anyway, is, you know, collaboration with people, you know, your events team, your career team, right? Your marketing, it's all a domino effect. Everyone, if they're successful, I'm gonna be successful, right? So ARP, came to us and she was on the board, she rolled off the board, and she wanted to do a wellness event for seniors, of course, and I'm one of them. And so we kind of crafted together, I go, what else can we offer you to build your brand with our alums? So homecoming, they wanted to get some brand exposure at homecoming. So I was able to get a 1-year business development deal, working with my career team to do a 1-day event for them, and also have them have exposure at homecoming. So from one little conversation of them, you know, getting off the board, I was able to get a little bit of money from them, which was great, and you know, enhanced our education, enhanced our engagement with our older alumni, and also I was able to get a new sponsor.
That's awesome. So your board doesn't have any fiduciary responsibilities to the financial piece?
No, we can't, no.
Separate, okay.
We're lucky, our board is, I've been with a number of different nonprofits, some really good ones, some like, I could write a book. But our board is so supportive, and some people, you know, they roll off after a couple of years. I'm lucky, when our new board is coming in September, 2 friends of mine I've known for 20 years. So it's gonna be weird, I'm reporting to my friends, but Dominique Dawes, you know Dominique, she's gonna be on the board. Yeah, so another one who wasn't as engaged, she's in our Hall of Fame, and she's phenomenal. You get 5 minutes with her, you know, walk away, I'm like, wow, she is impressive. To hear about her, but I think a lot on that. She's great.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Do you have any like marketing materials that you can share with sponsorship levels, like what you offer at each, you know, like for $20,000 they get this?
Yeah, I don't have it that way. I really do customize it to each one, but I'd be more than happy to trade some contact information, and we can even set up a call too. Anytime. I love Milwaukee. Great city. Yes.
If you can't answer this, I understand, but I was wondering if the top 2 partnerships include a guarantee.
I can tell you, yeah. You do.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
great.
so now we have a fun part 2 of our presentation. We're going to have you all tell us your thoughts. So, you wanna?
I'm gonna go over the questions.
Yeah, so what we have, here we go. So what we have just come up with is a handful of questions here that we'd like you at your tables to kind of discuss. Then we'll go over the questions, and then we're going to come back together as a group and talk about some of these ideas. So hopefully we can use this as a brainstorming session for all of us.
So you can read up there, what's the most creative revenue stream you've seen other organizations use or have you used? How do you evaluate whether a new revenue idea is worth pursuing? Who do you involve when brainstorming or launching a new revenue initiatives? How do you know when it's time to sunset a revenue stream, like I did with the wine program? How do you secure a buy-in from leadership? That's always a challenge sometimes, right? For a new initiative. And what metrics do you use to define success with a new revenue stream? Yeah. So pick a question or two, get to know your friends at your table, and then we'll kind of go around the room and share some ideas.
Hi.
We got your holiday gift guide. I think our Edie got it. I know, 'cause that takes time. For each one of those projects. So, I mean, there are so many things. And yet there are other so I did like we did something similar, because I did away with like all the one-off emails for partners, and we started a member affinity. So we started a member affinity emails instead of sending like an email for the bookstore, an email for this partner. So now I do like quarterly member affinity emails, and I put them all in one email, and it highlights like 4 to 6 partners. Yeah, that's what
Looks like there's some great discussion about Looks like a lot of great discussion. Is there anyone who would kind of volunteer about what was discussed at your table? Don't be bashful. About the first question, who did discuss the first one? Yeah, I'm okay.
We need more time.
Need more time? Don't be bashful. Like we see you.
We're good, we can have all the normally.
We actually didn't pay attention to any of the questions. We talked about stewarding, I think that'd be the right term you'd use, stewarding some of the folks, and tell me your name again. Jake. Jake talked about that they do a tailgate for all games for their corporate partners. You know, here at Clemson, we'll offer some tickets in our alumni suite, but I mean, it doesn't take too many tickets because we don't have that many, but that was pretty spectacular, and a way to maybe with other parts of campus that may sell or have corporate partners, a great opportunity to build bridges by including them in some of those stewarding wins.
There's a session on that tomorrow.
Oh, is it?
Nice segue. Anyone else?
If you want to learn more, go to that.
I can see it over there.
Are you looking at?
Yeah. Come on, newbie, come on.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm gonna put you on the spot. That's what I do. There you go.
Only because you're a new friend, Jim.
I know. We're BFFs.
Okay, so, I'm Jackie. I, work with the Alumni Association at William and Mary, but we did not obey the assignment, only because we thought we were gonna have more time. But I opened the conversation by asking which alumni associations were 501c3s and which ones were not, because I think that drastically changes the landscape with which we approach revenue generation and looking for opportunities to build revenue, because sometimes it's a lot more complicated when you are underneath a different wing of your university, as opposed to when you are a separate 501c3 entity, which William and Mary is. So there's a lot that I've heard this morning that, quite frankly, like has gone over my head in a lot of ways, but in other ways has been very impactful. But I will, like, off the hip just say, like, what's the most creative revenue stream? Like, Bubba, I would love to have a conversation about your ring ceremony or ring program. Ours is insanely underutilized, and I would love to learn more about that. But we were just having a discussion mostly and primarily about the different types of alumni associations and how they approach revenue generation. And we promised we were gonna get to that assignment. We just ran out of time, so sorry.
We'll save it for next year in Nebraska, by the way.
But it was a great discussion.
Okay, good,
So
good.
anyways, so sorry to.
You don't have to apologize, that's great.
Anyone else?
I'll share with that.
There we go. You win a free lunch right after this, by the way.
Hi everyone, I'm Kelsey from Northern Michigan University. Our group just kind of talked about the creative revenue stream that we have. Nebraska is working on getting their co-branded beer in the stadium. Northern Michigan University just launched that same kind of thing last year with a local brewery, alumni owned. We sell it at, we're a hockey school, so we sell it at hockey games. Part of the revenue kicks back. It doesn't support the alumni office, but it goes to other initiatives on campus. We talked about alumni merch and how it gets sold. My school specifically doesn't do that because we have a contract with Barnes & Noble, but other schools have that through their associations.
That's great. Yeah, we also have an alumni store that's really growing this shirt, by the way.
That was great.
Yeah, thank you. Staff works, by the way, you can see them. But it's really building, because like our bookstore is a Barnes & Noble bookstore. We do our own merchandise as well, and that's been really growing. Taylor, get Taylor for like 5 minutes and talk to her about it. She's really, her and Megan have done an amazing job with the alumni store.
Do you have an online store, Jim?
Yeah, we do. We have our own alumni store.
Who do you work for?
Taylor. I'll give you Taylor's information. She handles all of that. But for this like shirt, Speckler's developed this shirt for us. people love it. I mean, we have merch, we're a membership dues organization, so they love their swag. And, but then, we need to make a little bit more money on that, so, right? So,
Can I ask a question? So we're a 501c3 and offering sponsorships, it seems the donation or part of it is. And so we're limited on what we can offer back for that. Does anyone else, like something that a partner wants, we are not under the IRS allowed to do. And it's a very fine line between being a donor and a sponsor / partner. And if anyone else has that, I'd love to talk offline, but it limits on the things coming to an event and giving things out can get money.
yeah, when we had our wine program, like $1 went to our student fund. That was like one thing that we did in the past. It's Christina.
On revenue, just creative revenue, one thing that we just launched about 3 weeks ago is a partnership with our commerce and our visit chamber of some sort, that is Come Back Home. So I don't know if you guys are, but we have a healthcare entity as well as an academic entity, and we are growing quite a bit in Lexington, and so there's a big economic development side of creating new jobs, but finding people to be in those jobs. And so we have partnered with both of those groups to bring back a full marketing campaign that's Come Back Home, that falls into homecoming. And we go to a lot of different target audiences, so we do a lot of our away games. And sorry, did I say I'm from UK? I don't know if I said that, but we so we are like in New York this year, and we're in Nashville, Atlanta, and Chicago, and so we're launching events in those, because those are big markets to bring folks home, as well as, far, outskirts, touching states and stuff. But that was a $60,000 contract, and it's a 2-year deal, so that was pretty nice. And they're already basically, instead of doing new things, they're really just partnering with us, and then they're also taking the things that we have and putting it in their markets. And so in theory, we hope that it doesn't we'll see, we just launched it, so we'll see how well it goes, but we aren't having to do new things for this partnership, so it does feel like that sponsorship is just net in it, because we are going to those cities, so we're adding folks and adding a campaign. And one of the big things that they asked us to do, and why it was appealing to us, was we have a strong alumni base that talk about wanting to come home. And so we are at all of our events, basically from now until probably December, we are setting up just like a microphone and a stand that says, what do you love about Kentucky? Why do you want to come home? And we're doing these interviews, but they're also becoming alumni stories for us to use. So I don't know how the other schools are a part of that, or how your city is addressing that, but we are a big part of Lexington and addressing the economic development side of things and the shortfalls. And like the University of Kentucky is growing as well. We need teachers, we need healthcare workers, and so it was pretty much a no-brainer for us to partner in that way. But also, and we probably would have done it regardless if we got the money. So the money is an extra piece, especially when your president says, help us bring more people home, you're gonna do that. But that to me is a very different revenue stream, and one that obviously we haven't been talking about. But myself and our executive director sit on a Lexington economic development, and so because we were on that, we were hearing those challenges, and we approached both, our Lexington commerce, and then our visit Lexington. I don't know what that relates to, but that's been really cool. And hopefully, in a few months, we'll have some successes. Again, we just started it, the contract just got signed, and we're kind of in the building phases of it. But I don't know if you guys are dealing with that. That could be something really cool. And like, our theme this year is like, once a Wildcat, always a Wildcat, come back home for homecoming. And so the theme that we were already doing sits really, really well with what they wanted to do, and talk about the pride you have in Kentucky, the pride that you have in Lexington. So I don't know, something different and interesting.
We're actually doing a similar thing at Nebraska. We partnered with our state, this Nebraska Department of Economic Development, who have a similar repatriation campaign. So I would encourage anyone, if you think it makes sense, to either reach out to your local Chamber of Commerce, Commission, Visitors Bureau, Economic Development place, or your state level too, because a lot of times they'll have marketing dollars behind these repatriation campaigns. And maybe if you're gonna go out and do a football tailgate somewhere out of state, that'd be a natural sponsorship for them. If If they wanna travel someone out there, they can have a speaking spot or whatever, and it's just about connecting with alumni out of state who may be interested in moving back to the city or state.
I was surprised how they didn't flinch on the price tag, like it wasn't anything, cause they had the money already to do it, it was like
No.
finding the right partner to do
Ours
it.
needed to spend their money in like the next 3 weeks, or else they'd lose it. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, those are nice to have.
Yeah.
There.
Thanks, Jeff. By the way, he's hosting next year.
Ours is the Nebraska Department of Economic Development.
I will
So
say
they're-
SIU, at Southern Illinois University, we are starting something called the Saluki Market. It has not gone live yet, but, it is gonna be a revenue generator for us. We are partnering with alumni-owned businesses. So I know if you've been at CAMP, you may have heard of like Texas X is doing this, Minnesota does this. We're doing it on a little bit of a different level. It's all run through Shopify, so we don't have our hands in it as much. We are gonna get a percentage of all the sales, but it's a great way for us to have an engagement tool. It's a different way to engage alumni-owned businesses, but we'll be promoting those folks on our Saluki Market, and then in turn, they'll be paying, a fee to be on our Saluki Market, and then we will be getting a percentage of the sales from those. So we're hoping that goes live here in just a couple of weeks, and we're starting small, cause we are managing it, more in-house, and we're a team of 8. And we have no idea what we're doing, so we're like, here we go. But it's really exciting, and this will be a way that we can help people engage, all across the world, because these businesses are everywhere. And they range from everything from food products to apparel to dog food, or, so it's just all over the place, but we're really excited about that. Anyone else wanna share? I know we're heading into sponsor visits later this afternoon, so does anyone wanna talk about how they evaluate whether a new revenue stream is worth pursuing? What's your criteria?
I was just gonna say, is that one kind of, I'm sure everybody's had somebody reach out to them, often an alum who has a business or something, like, I've got this great idea, and if you promote it, then we'll give you this or that or the other, and it's like, the juice ain't worth the squeeze. And so, it's one of those where, I think one of the great takeaways is sometimes it's okay to say no, and okay to say, we wish you well, but this ain't, as Bob Dylan said, it ain't me, babe.
I think that Richard Tom was putting together, like I said, Bluetooth speaker, and it was a lot, a little bit like, it wasn't worth the squeeze, right? And I just don't have the bandwidth, I'm a one-man shop,
Yeah.
so I had to let him know.
I also think it's valuable, at least on our campus, we have a lot of ideas that happen one time and then they decide they're not worth it anymore. The right ideas sometimes take maybe 2 to 3 years to marinate and grow into what it can. So having the right patience, being able to analyze if it's worth the squeeze or not, but also is this worth having patience for 2 to 3 years to make it work rather than giving up too soon. And we're really, really good at giving up way too soon. Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really interesting question, evaluating a business. I think it's evaluating businesses faster. We're a team of 3, well, actually 2. And this has come up for me in my 6 months, my very long history at Stanford Alumni Association. And the thing that we asked our board, which is an advisory board, who have great connections in Silicon Valley, for ideas. And so we asked for their ideas. They gave us their ideas. And we chased 2 ideas. They weren't like super laborious, it was the beginning of my time, but what I learned through that experience was if you can research faster, which the SMA, huge plug for them, that is a great resource for sponsorship webinars and classes, and I just won one of the classes, so I'm attending it right now and I love it. It's really, really fruitful and I've learned a lot. But being able to evaluate something faster is really important, and leveraging ChatGPT and other AI tools is really critical.
What about sunsetting a revenue stream? I know, Jim, you touched on your, wine partnership. Can you kind of tell us about when you chose to?
It was a lot of effort, chasing them down for sales reports and that sort of thing. And I know going into it was going to be more of an engagement. And I looked at the revenue, I looked at the time, and I looked at what else I had on my plate, and it really wasn't worthwhile. And actually, they thought about one program 6 years before I started, and I pushed it over the finish line. I was really happy, proud about that, designed the bottles and the labels and all that, but it was just too much, and take it away from my other partners. So I had to, kind of sunset that and move it over to the maintenance one.
You know, one thing we've considered is like giving up the ring. Like our student engagement, it just seems like it's going less and less every year, and it's like we're not really the right office to promote that. In all honesty, like, yeah, right? Like, it's a lot of money, but like, is it what's best for us and
Yeah.
the sponsorship?
I honestly think like something as simple as just like listening to your alumni. If we send out an email from a sponsor, whether it's like insurance or like a credit card or something like that, if we get a ton of responses, please remove me from your list, or please, or we've even had some alumni get very vocal about us selling their contact information. A lot of alumni don't like that, and so just kind of listening to those things and taking them into account when we're pursuing new revenue ideas is that what is that going to cost us in terms of our relationship with our alumni? If it's gonna put that in jeopardy because we're selling information that may not wanna be sold, or if we're putting sponsors or companies in front of our alumni that may not appreciate that very much, then you kind of let your alumni guide you. You just have to be careful not to be stuck in a certain generation of alumni. We serve a lot of different generations of alumni, so just kind of listening to the whole spectrum, and realizing what they like and what they don't.
Yeah, we just walked away from a $50,000 sponsor because they were, one, a pain in the ass to work with. Their demands were just ridiculous, and they were rude and pushy with our staff, but our alumni, they were kind of pushy and overbearing with our alumni when they were at the event. Like, they were almost aggressive, and we're like, you know what, it's just not worth the 50 grand, so
Yeah.
we're just gonna part ways. And they're still advertising in our magazine, so it wasn't a complete loss, but it comes to a point where you have to weigh the relationship. And we do an asset evaluation with our sponsors on that side. Like, we have a credit card program, and like, I'm crunching the numbers hard right now because it moved away from a guarantee to more of a rev share, and I've seen this all year, and I'm weighing it out, like, how much did we truly bring in versus the dedicated emails and the direct mail? Is it worth it to have this credit card program now that there's not a guarantee tied to it? And what do? Maybe we walk away from that. And I've done that with quite a few programs since I've been at Florida. Like, I know some of you are with Emma Hart, and that was one of my first evaluations. Like, I came in and I was like, we're giving them $18,000 worth of advertising and promotion, and we're getting $3 grand a year back. Bye.
Yeah.
So. No.
So to kind of tie into that a little bit, what about buy-in from leadership?
Oh,
Does anyone have
God.
any? We all just kind of roll our eyes, but anyone have any insight?
I can speak on this. So first off, I wanted to shout out to Jim and to Jeff. Last year about this time, our marketing team completely walked out. Whole team walked out. Now I'm a team of 7, so 2 people walking out is big. Our associate vice chancellor sent me to camp 2 weeks notice, and she said, learn everything you can about raising money because it's not your job. Okay. I run a regional chapter, so we have 21 regional chapters. So I spent 120 days on the road, then was told I have to raise money. So I came to Jim, I came to Jeff, I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but here I am, help me. And we all put our brains together one day. They didn't have to do this. This is not boasting, this is not a lot of money. In 6 months, I raised $125,000. That's even much. So I want to give Jim and Jeff a shout out, they're great, take them up. But talking about leadership buy-in, our associate vice chancellor came from NYU. NYU and Eastern North Carolina are 2 very different cultures. In Eastern North Carolina, if you make $65,000 a year, you're doing pretty darn good. in NYU, he makes $65,000 a year. That's probably not much. And so she's an ECU alum, but she had lived in New York City for so long that what I valued at $10,000 and what she valued at $10,000 were just completely opposite ends of the spectrum. And so I had to literally beg and plead and borrow for her trust. And it ended up coming down to me almost blindsiding her with a sponsorship agreement from our health system, our hospital. We were Vidant Health, and then ECU bought the hospital. So we became ECU Health. So my thing is, they have our logo on it, we need to get some money from them. And I asked her to write a sponsorship agreement, and she wouldn't do it. And I'm not crap talking her, I love her. She genuinely care very much about that woman. She wouldn't do it, and so I wrote it and took her to the meeting with ECU Health, and they out loud said, this is the best proposal we've ever seen, because you're valuing us for what we are here in Eastern North Carolina. You're not valuing us for Raleigh, right? And I think it took just like, you just have to keep going at it, and you just can't give up. And ever since then, like this past 6 months, she's gotten off my back. She supports me. She knows I'm raising the money, and it's just, and I hate to say it like that, but you know, I know what Eastern North Carolina means. We're run from farmers, and we're based off agriculture. It's not a one-stop shop. $10,000 for you and $10,000 for me can be a lot. And I think once they our leadership bought into that and realized we can raise money, we just might have to do it a little bit differently, it helped.
Thank you.
I think it's key because, like Bubba said, you have to get everybody in the organization involved to help fulfill the sponsor promises that are included in those agreements too. So that's super.
All right. Does anyone have any questions, final questions before we close out the session? Okay.
So, we're always looking for new talent. This is, I can take a picture of this for my boss's boss, okay? So, if you know anyone looking for a job, here's the QR code, let me know.
If you're scanning it, don't have your boss in the room right now.
That's right. Great, you got my good side, thank you. Excellent. And I got my contact information on the next one. Please give me a buzz anytime. I'm gonna set up a call. Like, meeting you last year was awesome, by the way. And you know, just able to help out, and I get some great ideas I have over the last 3 years at camp. So here's my information. If you're in a DC area, I'm also a very good tour guide. Let me know. And thanks again for the time.
Thank you all for a great conversation, and to Jim for a wonderful presentation. We really appreciate all of your insight and working together. With that,
Thank
for you, Jim. Appreciate you. So before we head out, just have a couple of announcements. Up next is lunch over with the camp sponsors at the Alumni Center. So be sure to chat with them and thank them for being here and making this conference possible. Lunch is sponsored by Active and Fit Direct, which Jim talked about. So we are going to, when we exit here, we're going to head across the street, grab food inside the Alumni Center, just like we did for dinner last night, and then find a spot under the tent. Thank you. Yeah.
My phone's up.